folks, Ariel over here. Today we are moving Nyth. Actually, she's moved, and I'm sitting inside her in her new spot to tell you how that went. So the first thing we had to do, in addition to all the various projects you've seen in the last few videos, as far as actually moving the house rather than moving all the things that were in the way of the house, because of course had I not had a garden parked in the way of moving the house and planters and all of that stuff, as far as the house itself, this would have been much less complicated. And I have got questions over the years about security. Do I use a trailer lock or, hitch lock, something like that, to be sure no one could steal my house? Because depending where your house on wheels is parked, that of course could potentially be an issue. No, I just made it take 3 weeks of solid physical labor to be able to get to the trailer, so that was my security measure. It seemed to work well. But anyway, so as far as actually moving her, we, after getting all that stuff out of the way, went over all the moving components of the house itself. So those things primarily relate to the trailer, of course, not the house. Went over the tires. Tires, I got tons of questions about the tires. Would they be okay? The house has been parked for 7.5 years. All of that. So there are 3 main ways that tires age. Lots of wear and tear, like you drove lots and lots of miles on them. That's clearly not the case for my house, since it's only traveled about 1,000 miles total in its life. So that's not an issue. Then rubber simply ages sitting around for enough years, even if it's like on a shelf in a building and has never been used. These are also not that old as far as that goes. The main thing that's hard on rubber, which is one of the main ingredients in a tire, is heat. And so a bunch of people ask about, your tires have been in such a harsh climate, they're probably gone bad, you're going to have a blowout, all of that. I looked up at one insurance company actually specified that I think it was something like 29% of their total customers are in that range of the bottom southernmost row of states from like Texas to Florida, but that accounted for almost 80% of all their tire blowout claims. Heat is really hard on tires. Extreme cold is not really. And these tires have been protected their entire life from the sun. The backside of the trailer never, ever, ever could see the sun because of the way it was parked. Not once, not for 1 second. And the front side, and the back as well, were almost totally covered with the planters, and then snow most of the year, or plants the rest of the year. So they really haven't had any sun exposure to do the dry rotting for the sun. So about a week before moving her, once I got the planters out of the way, we fully inflated the tires, made sure they held pressure, checked them multiple times, checked for any pitting, any cracking. There was no issues. Traveled to the new spot, hi beautiful, and they got us here safe and sound. So for all the tire questions, that's tires. If you live in a hot climate, a really hot place, and you had your house parked for 7 years, you probably would need new tires. But with the extreme cold here and the fact that it hardly ever gets warm at all, they've done just great. So when I first built those planters, or set them around it and filled them in its old location, these jacks on the corners, they were resting on the same blocks on the ground, which was pretty much solid rock in that location. I had given them a very good coat of WD-40, and then they've been totally protected from the weather that whole time because the planters were all up around here and they're under the house. So they were basically indoors, and it seemed to have worked well. They stayed working very smoothly, no issues with rust, nothing else going on with them. Went over the hitch and the lock and the safety chains. Went over the brake system and the axles, the lights, the tail lights and brake lights and all of that kind of stuff. All in good working order. The only thing we really had to fix was the one tail light. The little case around it was broken out. We knew that. It had busted it when the tail drug when the house was pulled up the hill to the location. It's been in for years. So we knew we had broken that then, and so that had to be replaced. Everything else was in excellent working order. So today I'm working at packing. That's all boxes. And this end of the house, I'm just getting things emptied out that could fall off or down. Next thing I need to do, obviously, is get all the books off the bookshelf. But this morning I took all the houseplants over to Clay's house temporarily so they couldn't get beat up in the move. Got more boxes and crates out here. But I thought you guys would like to see what a lovely mid-May day. You see those white chunks coming down? Some of them are like snowflakey. Some of them are a little haily. Some of them are like styrofoam ball shaped. It's trying to snow. Let's take a good look at the grass there where you can see what's hitting, because it's not a ton. But anyway, that's the weather here in mid-May. I think it was about 18 degrees last night. Hard ice on everything outside. I did start this moving process the minute the snow was melted out enough to get to things, but it is not warm yet. There you can even see. Hi, Barley. Hi, baby. Oh yeah, I see snowballs on your back too. Anyway, back to packing up things in boxes. Interrupting my packing again to just look out the window. It's actually getting kind of white out there. This has been going on for a little while now. Some is melting, but it keeps piling up. This is a nice little mid-May snowstorm. And so the next thing was to get her out of the spot she was parked in. So that was another security feature. That is not easy because of the mountainside I was living on. Had a fairly steep little hill that was my driveway lane that came up to the house. And so for the turning radius both in my clearing, as you'll see, she turns right across the entire old garden area to be able to make that turn and get out. And then coming down the hill, most trucks, pickup trucks that are long, big enough to tow her, were too long to make that circuit. So fortunately on the property I've been living on, there was access to a tractor, and Clay was able to use that. It's how she got up to the clearing in the first place too. They used that tractor to get her turned around and just down the hill. Then of course to go down the road, switch to traveling with a pickup truck. But for that tight space, using the tractor was super helpful. First time she's moved in 7.5 years. Well, 7, because after the first half year she came into this spot. Really excited to check out whatever rodents might have been hiding under. Across the old garden, made that turn. This hill because it's a bit steep. Okay, here she's going to come down the hill. Can't usually really see how steep this little hill is, but it's steep. This is why she's being moved with the tractor right now. And it's still a little nerve-wracking. pulled out of there, parked for another day, double checked all the things like tire pressure and such again, made sure nothing was rattling. Made sure she was very well balanced because, you know, on any big trailer load, whether it's a house or not, going down the road you need to have enough tongue weight so that your trailer's not trying to pry off of the towing vehicle, but because all the weight's on the tail end, you don't want that going on, but you also don't want so much tongue weight that between the truck and the trailer that it's doing this and trying to push the center down in the ground. So you want it really nicely balanced. So after getting down the hill and parked again on really level ground, I did some rearranging of the boxes and stuff in here till, you know, Clay was happy with how it fit his truck to ride really nice and level. So we got that all smoothed out. Again, you know, checked tire pressure and everything, and then went on down the road with her. Oh, and in between there, because I had a little time to kill, like I told you probably in one of the last videos, I wasn't planning to touch up the siding, but there was a day when I didn't have any other projects I could do right then, and I still had a bucket of the same, you know, stain I'd used on the exterior of the house, and I thought, oh, I'll touch up a couple boards, just while it's sitting here while we're waiting to go down the road. I'll do that real quick. But of course, once I touched up a couple, then the one beside it didn't look like it matched, so I ended up basically restaining almost the entire house that afternoon. So that got done in there. That was kind of an unplanned project. And then we went on down the road to our new home, which is where we're sitting right now. And many thanks to my good friend Moose for this footage. He was able to come over and be a tail car for this trip and shot some video footage of that for me, which was terrific. If you don't know him, he has a little experience moving tiny houses. He's built 3 of them at least himself and moved most of the way across the country a couple different times, and done a whole lot of other interesting things like being a fascinating photographer as well. So if you're not familiar with Moose's work, you should go check out his stuff as well. He's a fascinating person. went super smoothly. I am so thankful for that because, of course, when you move any large object, especially when into your house, I could think of a whole lot of things that could possibly have gone wrong, and none of them did. We had no issues with tire blowouts. We, stopped and checked. Nothing was overheating. Brakes worked well. They were checked beforehand. It had a beautiful sunny day, which was lovely. We picked, a Sunday morning to actually do the drive because there's less commuter traffic on the road, then it's pretty quiet. So that was nice, and everything just went smoothly. She rolled right in, and she's parked in her new home. Right behind the camera, I'm looking at a gorgeous mountain view right behind where you guys are seeing, and from here on out, you'll be seeing all the videos of projects here in the new spot. Hi folks, Ariel over here. Thanks for spending some of your valuable time watching these videos. Hopefully you found something beautiful, educational, interesting, peaceful, relaxing, or useful while you were here. If so, find more videos here, subscribe so you don't miss any updates, and if you like what you found here, feel free to like and share away so that others can benefit as well. You all have a wonderful day.